We're going to go ahead and get started because we've got some people watching in online as well. So thanks for coming and braving the elements today. And for those of you watching in at your chambers or at home, thanks for joining us as well. Today, we're excited to have Tiffany Tokarz here today. She holds several certifications in leadership and organizational development. And she is the CEO of Modern Muse Consulting and is one of their intentional growth strategists. She's been working with sales professionals and business owners to create intentional results. And due to their accomplishments in their business, she was recently accepted into Faculty Row. Faculty Row is an invite-only organization for Fullbright Scholarships, TED Talk speakers, and countless other accomplished academia. So thank you for being here again today, and we're going to go ahead and welcome Tiffany today.
Thank you. I got it. Oh, you got it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and watching. I really appreciate you being here. I have a formal presentation obviously put together, but I never officially know what I'm going to talk about until I get in front of you. And so my hope is to provide insight, guidance, and inspiration for you to deliver exceptional customer service from this presentation. So I'm going to start off by having you guys think about how delivering exceptional service makes you feel. So when you are in alignment with who you are, bringing all of your education, all of your experience to the moment in time where you're able to really wow someone, how does it feel? It feels amazing, right? You know that you're helping someone else. And when I think about what life's really about, isn't it about living your legacy, not just leaving it? It's bigger than delivering exceptional service. It's about being who you are on purpose and making sure that you show up in a way that allows other people to be blessed, right? When I was a young girl, my dad used to tell me, Tiffany, you have to pay rent on planet Earth. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? I have to pay rent when I'm living in my apartment. You know, this is when I was really young, just getting ready to graduate from college. And he said, no, I mean rent on planet Earth, meaning that you are here and your goal as you live is to pay it forward and to pay others what it is that you have in your heart. And so what I mean by paying rent, you want to leave the world a little bit better than when you got here. Right? That's our responsibility. That means we have to get up to speed with all of our education, all of our experience in present time. I was the first one on both sides of my family to graduate from college, and not the first woman, the first person. My papa used to tell me that he was smarter than the 9th grade teacher, that's why he dropped out. And yet he said, you're not going to drop out, you're better than me. And I said, well, you're smarter than me, so how is this gonna work out for us? And he said, well, I am smarter than you, but you're better than me. So I had really good family members who did everything they could to inspire me and keep me laser focused and deliver what it is that was in my heart, and also then obviously sacrifice. There was a lot of sacrifice to get me where I'm at today, and I honor their contribution. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I just want to give you guys a little bit of insight as to who I am, not just what I know. And I hope that you'll walk away with some tips and tricks that are going to help you increase profitability through practical application. A lot of what I'm going to share with you guys today isn't rocket science. It's not going to walk you through a step-by-step process that you haven't already heard. But what it is going to do is going to cause you, my hope is, to pause and ask yourself, am I applying what I know? Because I really believe that if you're not applying what it is that you know, you're exactly where you're supposed to be today. Right? We're not perfect. We're imperfectly perfect. And so there's always opportunity to get better. So if you know something that I'm sharing with you and you're not applying it, jot it down. Take it back with you and think to yourself, how am I going to apply what it is that I know? All right, so my big pet peeve about customer service is it seems like every business is talking about it, but they're not being about it. So everyone's always all about, well, I deliver exceptional service. What does that even mean? So I think it's gotten to the point where a lot of consumers are to their eyeballs with it. They're like, okay, great, you deliver exceptional service. And so what I want you guys to think through is that service is so much about the one person that you're interacting with. You can't deliver exceptional service unless you really get to know each and every one of your customers, and that's not easy. So this step-by-step process is going to be simple, but it's not easy. There's a big difference between the two. It's a very simple, matter-of-fact, step-by-step process I'm going to walk you through. This was given to me from a Fortune 500 company. I climbed the corporate ladder at Bank of America, and this is straight out of their sales playbook. I hope I don't get sued for this. I'm just joking. It's not completely from their sales playbook, but a lot of this is because I worked at Bank of America for 7 years, let's be honest. So they just got free advertisement. Let's go with that. And I still bank there, just so we're clear. All right, moving on. So the reason I bring all that up is I want you guys to know that these are ideas that came from a very big company that I'm going to be sharing with you, because I don't think that I have the wherewithal or the bandwidth to have came up with this on my own. And so I don't want you guys to think that this isn't from when I feel is one of the best places that delivers exceptional service and actually follows through on what they commit to teaching their employees. All right, so we're now going to move on. Our goal here today is all about the customer, and we're going to walk through the step-by-step process that I'm going to talk about today. The first thing is why it makes dollars and cents. Okay, and I spelled out cents if you caught it on purpose. I didn't miss it. And with that, it's really simple, but is it easy? What's the formula? So I'm going to walk through how intention moves into follow through and how that then ultimately positions you to be able to ask for referrals. I want you then to move into realizing that this is going to take commitment. And if you're in leadership or if you're a business owner, I don't want you to start rolling this kind of stuff out until you're ready to hold your team accountable, right? This isn't something that you can just roll out. In fact, you'll lose your team along the way if you roll something out and you're not willing to follow through and make sure that they're being held accountable. They'll actually start to ignore you because you're saying, oh, this is what we're going to do, but you're not forcing them to follow through. So they're going to start to feel like, oh, this is just the flavor of the month. If I just bury my head in the sand, she'll get over this, he'll get over this, and they'll go back to doing business the way that it's always been done. So if you're in leadership, it's really important that you proactively carve out the time on your calendar to follow through on this. Inspect what you expect, right? And then the last one is document, document, document. Ritz-Carlton, they're one of the companies that inspired Bank of America a lot with their service and sales playbook. So Ritz-Carlton was really good about making sure that they documented even something as detailed as what color towel a guest wants. So no matter where you stay in the country, if you go to a Ritz-Carlton and you want a blue towel, they don't ask you if you want a blue towel. It's documented in their computer system. And when you get to that room, there's a blue towel because that's what you want. That's a wow. Right? That's when you walk out of there and like, oh my gosh, they're actually listening to me. They're paying attention to me. They are hearing what it is that I'm saying. So documentation is key because you can't deliver exceptional service, again, unless you know what your consumers want. All right, so it's all about the customer. We are in business to serve. Without customers, we don't have a business, we have a hobby. Right, so today's presentation is about how can we create profitable relationships that are rewarding for your customers and clients and yourself, okay? So we want to really be laser focused on setting the intention of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So in order to get us started, I want you guys to open up your workbooks. So there's 2 workbooks here. And for those of you who are joining us online, I know the partnership sent out these workbooks, so if you can please grab a workbook. The workbook that we're going to reference is the one that says the wow factor, your impact matters. That's what we're going to focus on first. Okay, so in order to understand the financial impact of service, this is something that tends to get overlooked because what I see in business is people are so focused on growing their business that they forget to slow down to speed up. right? So they're not really delivering exceptional service and taking really good care of their customers at a level that causes that customer to want to stay working with that company for longer. And this has a very negative impact on the bottom line, because I want you to think about how much money it costs to attract customers and clients. In a small business setting, it's very expensive. It might not cost you dollars and cents, but it costs you time, energy, and effort, right? So whether you're networking to meet people or you're spending money on marketing, the bottom line is, in order to attract anyone to your business to do business with you, it's going to cost time, energy, and effort, or money. Regardless, it's still going to cost you. So then let's take it a step further. What's it cost you to onboard that client or customer? In some businesses, it doesn't cost anything, and then there's some that, you know, it really truly costs money to be able to onboard that client, because they have to pay someone to, you know, follow through on the documentation, get them into the system, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very, very costly to lose a client. So every relationship matters. So in order to help you break down the financial impact that each of you have on the bottom line through delivering exceptional service, I want you to think about your average customer or client and what they spend whenever they do business with you. Maybe they're on a monthly retainer. Maybe they buy something on average for this ticket dollar amount. Whatever it might be, I want you to figure that out. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to encourage you to go back to the drawing table and figure that out. Get a rough idea. This is really important for you to have an idea of what it is that they spend. And then from there, I want you to take it a step further. Every day, every month, every year, how many clients or customers do you manage? From there, you want to take A times B, right? So that's your worth, A times B. So whether you are the owner of the company or you are serving the clients or customers within your business, A times B equals C. That is your worth that you're bringing to the bottom line. And as my dad taught me as a young girl, you want your boss to make more money than you make. Because if they make more money than you make, you'll always have a paycheck, honey. Right? So we want our owners. So if you're serving a company, you want them to thrive. Why would you not want to do everything you possibly can to have the business that you represent thrive in the marketplace? Okay, so you might be worth a lot, but you want that value that you're providing to be even more than what you're doing for the business, because then they will never look at hiring someone to replace you. And it makes you more valuable if you ever want to leave. All right, so then we're going to take determining the lifetime value of the customer. So whatever it is that they're spending, then you want to take it time how many years they tend to be with you, and then that's going to equate to the value of them as a consumer over the lifespan. Pretty important for you to know how valuable each and every person is that you come in contact with. And because happy customers tend to tell 3 other people about your business, go ahead and multiply D times 3. Okay, so we're really, really exponentially helping you realize that you want to value your clients or customers at a level that's mind-boggling when you really start to put it on paper. Then let's talk about, if they don't get good service, the cost of this. Go ahead and multiply the level of impact it has on your bottom line times 10 and put a minus sign in front of it, right? Because now they're going to tell 10 other people. We're human. I don't know why we're wired this way, but we have a tendency to repeat what's negative more often than what's positive. Just is what it is. So they're more likely to tell a lot more people when you've provided horrific service than if you've received exceptional service. All right, so you guys are smart. I don't need to go into the reason why this is so crucial. You just saw the numbers. So the reason I bring this up is because a lot of times I think people think, oh, customer service, it's such a fluff type topic. It's not a fluff type topic. It's really, really important for us to think through the impact it has on the bottom line. So I had a really dynamic sales professional who worked for me. He's now moved on to much bigger and better things. I just was blessed to have him report to me before he had his career take off. And he taught me that we need to get people to say yes at least 6 times for them to really be in sync with you. I'm like, Lee, is that how you're so good? And he's like, well, duh, Tiffany. And he would roll his eyes. I mean, he was this 21-year-old kid working for me, and yet he was dynamic. And he was so good, he could disappear for hours on end, but he always sold so much, I couldn't even get mad at him. It was really frustrating to manage him. Anyway, so I just had to just like take a back seat. Okay, Lee, just bring in the business, and I'll ignore you, I guess. Anyway, so he said what you want to do is get people to say yes 6 times. And if you understand the psychology behind that, and I didn't at the time, I just was in awe of his ability to do that. It really makes sense because it's getting them to buy in to what it is you're saying. So you're increasing the level of trust with that consumer as they say yes more often. So with that, we're going to move into the next step of the presentation, which is going to walk you through the step-by-step process, which is you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you can go ahead and turn to that page. So we've all heard that you have 7 seconds to make a first impression. And here's what I want to share with you about that. You're not going to be for everybody. But what you can do is to increase the likelihood of being the best version of yourself. And that then in turn is going to increase the chances of them liking you. Okay, so not everyone's going to like you, right? Thank God, if you really think about that. I mean, seriously. So what I like to tell people is there's 3 ways in which you want to brand in a way that will help you be the best version of yourself. You want people to love you. That's when it's fun, right? When people love you, and they love to love you, there's nothing better than that. But you also have to get comfortable having people hate to love you. That's not as bad. I almost like that more than the love to love, to be honest with you, because then they can't resist you, right? You're irresistible to them. And then there's those that, well, they love to hate you, right? If you've branded yourself like that, you're going to be remembered. And so I'm not here to tell you that everything that I'm going to teach you is going to make sure that every person you ever come in contact fall in love with you and want to do business with you, but you can increase the chances of creating that type of experience by checking your attitude at the door, right? It starts with attitude. So I'm not going to go into a lot of the details about the neuroscience research that I've done, but I did provide to you a supplemental workbook because I wouldn't be being true to my brand if I didn't share that with you. Because I think what differentiates Modern Muse Consulting in the marketplace is not the strategy, but it's the science that I provide to help clients reprogram their brain. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of amazing doctors that are in my life and are starting to help me put together some case studies to support what it is that I'm teaching because they understand what it is I understand about the brain. And so my goal is to have this in a publication at some point in my future. So you, due to experiences, have created neural pathways in your brain, whatever those might be. And some of those are good, some of those are bad. It's just reality. We've all had something that was traumatic that's taken place in our life. None of us have had perfect lives. It's been hard. Maybe this morning was even difficult just for whatever reason, the snow and everything else throws everything off a little bit. If you can figure out what your limiting beliefs, your doubts, and your fears are, like at a core, and then from there, write positive affirmations to offset those. So let's say that you hear in your head, I'm stupid, why bother? I don't know that any of you think like that, but I have in the past. I'm just being honest. So from there, you want to say, I'm smart. Your brain can't differentiate the difference between negative and positive. So the way I explain it to people is if you go on a diet and you say, I'm not going to eat chocolate cake, what are you thinking about? Right? All you can think about is chocolate cake. And so that's not any way to live. And so your brain does that because you said, I don't want chocolate cake. The brain doesn't know how to differentiate the two. So if you hear I'm stupid, I don't know why I even bother, what happens is when you show up energetically to meet that client or customer, you aren't being the best version of yourself, right? You're not stepping up to all that you're capable of doing. So if you, for 90 days, take your limiting beliefs, your doubts, and your fears, you create positive affirmations to offset those, and you just simply listen to a recorded version of this. You can hit video on your phone, or you can state them out loud. It pings through your eardrum in a different way. You want to hear it out loud. So you either want to state it out loud or you want to listen to it. It will reprogram your brain. So it will create new neural pathways. Most people don't like to be wrong. So what happens is you start having confirmation bias take place. So in the field of psychology, that's what we call it when you go to do research. Researchers have what's called confirmation bias. When Johnson & Johnson is paying a researcher to find out if this drug works or not before they put it into the marketplace, you better bet that that researcher has vested interest to make sure that the research they do proves that that's exactly what it is that's going to take place. Right, so all of us have biases, right? So if you create biases that are in alignment with the best interest of who it is that you are, that is going to allow for you to create confirmation bias. And then all of a sudden, when you look out into the world, you're going to start getting proof that you are that. So it's a gift that you have limiting beliefs, doubts, and fears, because you can create offsetting affirmations to change that. So you don't even have to believe this works. In fact, I like those that don't believe that it works, because then they get to come back to me when they do it and say, wow, it really does work. Your brain is a muscle. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and lift weights, you don't have to go to the gym and think it's working. It just makes you stronger. Your brain's no different. So if you do that each and every morning, you listen or you state these out loud, then you want to create imagery in your mind's eye of what your lifestyle is going to be as a result of just simply investing each and every day in alignment with what it is you want. The reason that's important is because the limbic system, it's at the core of the brain. It is going to manage your emotions because it's much more primal in nature. If we don't know why we're working towards what it is we're working towards, that limbic system throws its hands in the air and it says, you can be happy doing anything. You don't have to follow through on these plans. We're human, which means we're animals, which means we could live off the land. And the limbic system knows this. And so once you start getting stressed out, that's why the prefrontal cortex shuts down, because it ultimately serves the limbic system. So if you can see your future reality, the limbic system's like, oh, you're going to be even happier. I can jump on board with this. I now understand why you are working till 7:30 every night. Okay, I will do that for you because I see what it is you're working towards. Once you start feeling those images as if they're reality, it conditions your brain to release neurotransmitters to your body that energetically makes you feel happy. So dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, all of the neurotransmitters that help you focus and get into the zone they talk about and stay balanced between apathy and anxiety, the sweet spot that everyone's looking for, that magic bullet, that's what happens. You release that, then you are able to deliver. Then from there, you want to manage your day in alignment with what you need to get done, right? So you connect the dots to the day, and you quit getting 500 feet deep in your head. You just execute at that point. You let go. Okay, so why does that have anything to do with service? It has everything to do with service. You're not here for everybody, but you are here for a finite amount of people, and there's a lot of people that need you to be at your best. My goal today is much bigger than just teaching you how to deliver exceptional service. It's about elevating you up to be the best version of yourself, because someday I'm going to need you probably, right? And I don't know when that's going to be. Maybe I'm going to have a flat tire out in the streets and I'm going to be in desperate need, and you're going to be like, oh, that was the speaker that just talked. I'm going to pull over and help that poor lady. I don't know how it's going to shape up like that, but we live in a community that we are blessed. I am so grateful to live in Des Moines, Iowa, and I hope that you guys feel the same way, because when we look at this community, we are in it to win it together. I am so inspired about what the partnership's doing, what these chambers are doing. We are thriving. Like the things that are going on with women in business, like we've gotten to the freaking top 10 of the country. We were at the bottom of the barrel. You think one person did that? No, it was us, the state of Iowa. We are working together. And if we can start to be the best version of who it is that we are, each and every one of you win, and I win, and the community wins, and our children win. That's what I want you to be thinking about, your children, your next generation, the generation that hasn't even gotten here. We have to pave the way. We have to teach them to quit staring at their phones so much and actually talk to one another, right? It's bigger than service. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So attitude is everything, and you can proactively get ahead of it. Once you have anxiety or depression or anything, then it's hard to get out of the trenches. This is why that power quarter hour is so important, because you literally, after you feel something, you can't dig yourself out of it. And the best way for me to explain is, have you ever been in a bad mood and then have someone try to get you in a good mood? Doesn't work, right? So if you know what your triggers are and things that cause you to emotionally derail, if you get ahead of them, you have 17 seconds. That's it. That's all your brain has. The minute you take the bait, you go down the rabbit hole, you're done. You're done. So if you know what your triggers are, you can avoid those and stay in your lane, saying yes to life instead of saying yes to your negative emotions. All right, so with that, let's move on to the next slide. This is really a fun slide for me, because when you get really good at this, you grow profitable relationships. Have you ever noticed that people who are thriving can't help but want you to thrive too? They're not busy tearing you down. They're busy lifting you up. Hurt people hurt people. When you are at your best, you want everyone around you to elevate to their best, because you want them to feel as good as that you feel. So that is where money, you don't chase after money, money chases after you. Because everyone around you is going to be so inspired that they're going to want to help you grow in whatever way it is that you want them to help you grow. Right? So I don't want people chasing after money. That's when you start making poor choices. You start embezzling. You start getting out of alignment with your value system. You start doing terrible things to humans because you're looking for ways to get money. That's not what it's about. It's about having money chase you, because you are so strong in who it is that you are, and you are adding a lot of value. Every place you go, you're focused on, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? Right? That's how you live a legacy that really allows for you to be strong and continue to build. So how do we do this? Through a step-by-step process. It starts with setting the intention. So now we're going to move into the more tactical, practical way to manage a relationship when you're dealing with consumers or customers or clients. You want to start off by telling them that it is your goal to deliver service worth a 10. From there, you want to ask them, what do I need to do in order to do that? If you're in a retail environment, you might not be able to go into this in much depth, so you're going to have to figure out how to tweak this depending on your business model. But if you're in a B2B type business, this is going to be something you can absolutely take back and apply step by step. So after you've set the intention, and I guess, you know what, I'm going to take it a step further. If you're a waitress or a waiter, or you're working in a retail environment, you could go to your client or customer at that point and say, you know, it's my goal to deliver exceptional service today. I hope that's what I do. You don't have to go into a lot of questions at that point to ask them what it is that they need, but you can make that statement. The reason why you want to make that statement is because then they start to look for ways in which you're doing just that. So they are going to start looking for proof that you're delivering exceptional service. You're delivering service worth a 10. If you're in a long-term relationship and you ask them what it is that they want in order for them to perceive the service to be at a 10, you have to deliver on it. You can't just ask, you have to deliver. So in order to deliver, the next step in the equation is to document what it is that they stated. If you're in a large company where there's multiple locations, you want to make sure that's documented. So, and don't write it off. Instead, you want to figure out what you need to do to fix it. So, for example, I have had many, many experiences where things have gone awry. And at one point in the service industry that I worked in, while in banking, I had a customer that wanted to get paid for his time because there was an issue on the account, and he had to do a lot of research for that. Well, that wasn't something I was able to do, but we were able to walk through what I could do. Consumers don't want to know what you can't do, and they definitely don't want you throwing the other department under the bus, right? So you're the face of the organization. So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing as you're investigating what happened, you really want to figure out what happened, right? So dive in as specific as you possibly can. I just want to make sure I understand. It's my goal. When they get really frustrated, right, stop them for a second and say, do you mind? I just really want to help. And I'm unable to help when you are cursing in between every other word or whatever it might be. Like, you just want to set the intention, because it happens. I mean, we don't live in a perfect world, so I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat things that aren't going to be helpful in the real world. So if you can help them get to a place of knowing the purity of your heart, smart people will look beyond what's said if they know that the intention was good, right? So if they're unwilling at the point in time that you are talking to them, maybe you can even go as far as saying, I really want to help you, and so maybe we should reschedule to talk. Like, I really want to, or maybe I'll have someone else get on the line. I've had that happen and be so miraculous. The same thing can be communicated by a different voice, and I don't know why that works, but sometimes that's all it takes, is just saying, you know what, I'm going to get Sally on the line because we really want to help you here, but I don't feel like you and I are jiving, and so I'm going to get her on the line and see if, we can't figure out a solution, because it's our goal to do that. So again, you're going to stay pure and stay true to the intention behind what it is you're trying to work through. After you get clarity of what happens, you want to obviously then come up with a plan of attack, right? So what are the steps you're going to take? And then again, you want to find out when you're going to follow up with them, and you want to deliver exactly what it is that needs to be delivered upon, because that is your chance to get them to trust you. If you don't follow through, you might as well forget it, right? Because at that point, they're already frustrated, and then you promised a bunch of stuff you didn't deliver on. Once you follow through, you want to ask them if it's okay if they will share with you what they think you could do different and better next time, because you don't want this to happen again. You want to learn from this opportunity to learn, and you're going to make it better so other consumers don't have to go through this. Get them involved and get them engaged with the process, because then all of a sudden they're a part of your team, a part of your family, your cohort, whatever you want to call it. Then they're working on your behalf to help you get better. And that's when the team type atmosphere starts to take place, and when you can really create extremely loyal customers that are going to help you build your brand. They will be so much more loyal after something has taken place than they ever could have been before, if you deliver exceptional service. So the Gallup poll, let's talk about the Gallup poll. So what they've uncovered is, if a consumer only believes that your service is worth an 8, not a 9 or a 10, they aren't most likely going to refer business to you. This is why going back to setting the intention of creating service worth a 10 is so crucial. Because if you don't hit the 10, at least you might hit the 9. And if you hit the 9, they're going to be 85% more likely, somewhere around there, don't hold me to the percentage, likely to refer business to you. This is why we were taught to state we want to deliver service worth a 10. Because if they perceive the service to be at a level of a 10, we'd go as far as putting cookies on the plate in the front lobby with 10s on them, right? We wanted everything. We want to deliver service with a 10 on the receipts. Everything was 10s, 10s, 10s. We want 10s, because we wanted to have business referred to us, right? So that's an easy way to wow people. And it also helps you as the service provider look for ways and be inspired to make sure that you're doing that. So definitely take advantage of that research. It makes a huge difference in how it is that you're going to position your brand in the marketplace. Okay, so we're going to continue through the workbook here with the formula that has been laid out. So if you want to go ahead and move to the next page here, which is, we're to number 6 now. I want you to take a second to think about how you want to be perceived. So brand is really all about perception, and obviously if you don't know how you want to be perceived, the chances of you being perceived the way you want to be perceived probably isn't going to happen, right? So if you can start to think through what it is that you want to ensure that you are doing, in question number 7, to increase the likelihood of creating that type of perception, you're going to be halfway there, okay? So you really want to think that through, because the more often you are aware of how you want to be perceived, the more often you're going to elevate up to that, and then that's going to help you expand the impact of your brand, and then ultimately attract more of the people that are supposed to be working with you. All right, so we're going to move on now. Number 8, 9, and 10, we've really already talked about, but this is a step-by-step process in the workbook. Making sure that you're taking copious notes, making sure that you're putting your follow-ups into the calendar, making sure that you're carving time out on your calendar. If you're in leadership, make sure you're documenting what it is you're talking to your teams about. This isn't just about delivering exceptional service with consumers. It's also delivering exceptional service within your organizations. Because as a leader, it's your responsibility to be the best version of yourself so you can inspire, encourage, and also hold accountable your teams. And if you forget what it is that you're talking to your teams about, right, it's not going to be very easy for you to follow up. So everything that we've talked about really is an opportunity for you to leverage internally and externally within your organizations. Because if you get really good at service leadership, then people start to want to follow your lead instead of feeling like you're running the roost with an iron fist, right? So as a leader, you want to set aside, I would recommend like an hour each week, 2 hours each week, depending on how big your team is, to be able to look through the reports that you ask them to send to you. You want them documenting what it is that they're doing, right, with your customers, and make sure that you, from there, are giving them feedback, specific feedback. They've actually found that if you just give them fluff like, oh, you're doing a great job. Well, I'm doing a great job doing what, right? But if you're not doing your homework, if you're not reading the reports that you're asking them to submit to you, how can you give them specific feedback? So you really want to make sure before you roll this out, before you go back to your teams and say, hey, this is what we're going to start doing. We're going to embrace this step-by-step wow factor customer service, and it's going to have this amazing impact on how we feel as we're serving our clients. It's going to help us grow the company. You want to make sure you're ready for that as a leader, right? And take the time to plan it out strategically. I would have you start with a time study. If you're in leadership, where is your time going? Make sure you have enough time to roll this out. Sometimes it's a better thing to wait because maybe you have other priorities that have to get done right now. When I'm working with leaders, I a lot of times will tell them that I want you to manage your time like you manage your money. You don't put every single dime in a retirement account, right? So that's long term. You have to have money to survive, and your time's the same way. You want to continually carve out time to work on long-term initiatives, but what you don't want to do is just work on long-term initiatives, right? You got to keep the lights on. You got things that are needing to be focused on in the moment, and if you get lost in all of that, you can then ultimately do what I said at the very beginning of the presentation, what you don't want to do, which is overlook the importance of the clients and customers you already have, right? So it's about that long-term investment in short time-blocked increments each and every week. Okay, and then gauging feedback. This is something, again, I'm going to focus on working with your teams because I've already kind of talked about this, but I want you to engage with your teams and have conversations with them about what it is they're experiencing. Listen to their stories. Don't be in the ivory tower, right, looking down. Get into the trenches with them. I'm not saying do the work that you are asking them to do, but I'm saying listen to what they're hearing. Figure out the strategy that you could embrace to overcome some of the struggles that they're experiencing, and that will make all the difference. And on top of that, they can also utilize that same approach with your clients and customers, right? So touching base with your clients or customers from time to time, just find out, how are we doing? Ask them candidly, right? Because we want to know candidly, how are we doing? And then ask them, are we delivering exceptional service? And this is crucial because this is when you can open up the door for the question. to have them then think about who it is they know that they could refer to you. If you're doing a terrible job taking care of them, right, why would they refer to you? But if you've asked them, how are we doing? And then they tell you how they're perceiving the service to be, at that point it opens up a great opportunity for you to say, oh my gosh, that's great. That is our intention. We want to deliver exceptional service. And because we've enjoyed working with you so much, we can only imagine how much we would enjoy taking great care of the people that you love. Who do you know that might benefit from our service? And I bet on top of that, I'm going to enjoy whoever you refer to me because I enjoy working with you so much, and birds of a feather flock together. Right? It's so simple, and yet we're so busy being busy that we don't slow down to take really good care of people to expand our networks. So I encourage you to think of, instead of a pocket protector, I want you to be thinking about a magnifying glass that you're carrying around with you. And so every place you go, I want you to put the magnifying glass over, how can I expand this? How can I expand this? How can I slow down to speed up? How can I, oh, there's something I could do. Oh, I can get better at this. I can really get laser focused on this in a way that's going to allow the details to exponentially expand. Because that's really how it works if you want to get very proficient at this. And you just, if you slow down and ask that question to get them to refer business to you, what did they just hear? What do you guys think they just heard when you ask in that way? Anyone willing to open up and say, yeah?
Maybe it's almost like a friendship versus just a business relationship.
Right? I mean, really, you're starting to let them know that you care about them. On top of it, I hope they heard that you enjoy working with them, right? So you put a feather in their cap. So all of a sudden they're like, wow, okay. So it is more of a friendship at that point. So thank you, Daniel, for sharing. So let's take it a step further. You also want to have clarity on what it is that your brand is. So because your client or customer only knows how it is that you do business with them, if you have multiple tiers of how you do business, you want to slow down to make sure that you have clarity on all the different ways in which you do business. So at Modern Muse, we have an online portal where our clients can get in and go through videos and worksheets. They have a membership ID. And so there's that version of what we do, and it's one-on-one. And then we have the other version where there's more that gets more hands-on. Then we've got strategy sessions and workshops, and then we work with companies that are growing with intention. We do employee surveys, analyze the data, come up with communication strategies to roll out with the employees. We actually will go into the trenches and manage the performance discussions monthly, document what the discussions are, follow up with the leaders, train the leaders. We have 3 different modules of different trainings that leaders can select. So there's a lot of different ways in which we do business, but the clients who are getting into the online portal and meet with us for a half an hour once a month, they don't know all of that. All they know is what I provide to them as service. So if you're going to take it a step further, you want to actually take the time to go through and figure out your brand, right? And how you want them to become more aware. How would they possibly know all the things that you do if you don't tell them? They're not experiencing it, right? So you want to make sure not only that you're putting a feather in their cap, but slowing down to speed up again to communicate what it is that makes your organization unique in the marketplace. So at this point in the presentation, I'm going to allow the people that are here to give you guys the floor to share what makes your organization unique. And I will cut you off if you talk longer than 30 seconds because I want to make sure that I'm open to hearing as many of you share what it is that makes your organization unique in the marketplace. Anyone have their elevator pitch in their back pocket? If not, you need to hire us immediately. All right, CG.
So my recycling company, Recycle Me Iowa, literally picks up where the city leaves off. So we do doorstep recycling services for apartments. We do a white glove service where we come in and pick up the recycling inside your building. So if you don't have room for a dumpster, if your landlord won't provide recycling, we will provide it for you. And then for events, we talk about zero waste and compost and recycling and try to not create trash at the glorious events that we have in Des Moines.
I love it. Thank you, CG. Who else would like to share? All right.
Tara Dudley, Plant Life Designs owner. We specialize in residential landscape design, and our philosophy and our whole motivation is to get people to live among your plants. So we do an in-depth survey with you and consult and encourage you to spend more time outdoors than indoors.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm Molly with East Village Spa. Actually, my boss likes to say we're not the prettiest spa, but we are very focused on our customer service and creating those relationships with our customers. You know, making every experience good.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm Debbie Sears. I own Sears Insurance, which is an independent health and life insurance agency here in Des Moines. This is my 41st year in business as a producer and as a business owner. And 100% of our business is referral. So everything you're saying, Tiffany, is exactly spot on. Service is huge to me. The commodities that we sell, which is your health and life products, you can literally buy online. You can buy it out of the light bill. You can buy it on the street corner. You can buy it everywhere. There's more insurance agents in Des Moines than there are anything else, I swear. So what sets us apart is the individual service that we provide our customers. We are very good listeners and follow through with all of their expectations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiff.
Anyone else? I think we should just go ahead and keep this rolling. Like, get ready for the microphone if you haven't spoke yet. Why not? This is your chance to shine.
My name is Rachel Johnston. I'm with Sparta Waste Services. I do business development, and we are a trash and recycling hauler. We also do roll-off and construction containers as well. But our main differentiator is that we are a market liberator. Garbage is a service that everyone has to have. We're not looking to hold our customers to hidden contract fees and ways that we can change their prices throughout the year. We're looking to give someone a fair quote on something that they have to have and dispose of it efficiently and well and provide great service, but at a fair price in Des Moines.
Excellent. Okay. Let's keep it rolling. Okay. All right. That's okay. That's all right. I just wanted everyone to have a chance, but we don't have enough time. Those of you who didn't get a microphone, next time.
Okay. My name is Joe Copley with Fusion Architects. We're a full-service architectural design firm. And what makes us different than, I think, all of the architecture firms in the city and the state is that we develop our own projects. We construct it. We own and operate them. So we understand how to construct a building, and we know how to make a budget because we have to meet our own budgets. And that's always a key factor in the construction industry.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up then my presentation real quick so we can get to Q&A. So my hope is that you can go back through this workbook and leverage it as a checklist. We're human. We're going to forget things when we're tired, when things don't go right. So if you can go through this as a step-by-step process, the likelihood of you getting a chance to get more out of your relationships and turn them into even more profitable relationships is much greater. And it's also going to help you help them connect the pieces for you. So if you deliver exceptional service, the likelihood of them opening up and finding someone that you can benefit from knowing and that person can benefit from knowing you, the chance is going to be much greater that happens. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. I left at the back of the workbook a lot of daily reflection questions that you can implement. When I was going through and getting my master's degree, every single one of the classes, the professors would say, you need to inspire leaders to reflect. They already know what they need to do. Your job is to inspire them to follow through on what it is that they need to do. So if you simply just reflect at the end of each day, then you're going to get better, right? So you're going to learn from experience. Experience is a much better teacher than the four walls of any university, right? But you have to have an education to be able to apply what it is that you know, whether it's an education that you received and you dropped out of high school in 9th grade, or you went on to get a formal education, you have a PhD. Each and every one of us in this country have had a chance to get an education that we can apply in our real world experiences. And so with that, again, as a quick recap, we talked about why customer service makes dollars and cents. We talked about that it's simple, but it's not easy. Obviously, following through on each of these different steps isn't as easy as what I appeared to make it in this presentation. The formula: set the intention, follow through, ask for referrals. And don't start until you're committed to following through if you're in leadership. Obviously, if you're not in leadership, you better go ahead and implement what it is we talked about as soon as possible, right? So you have the ability to do that if you're not in leadership. And then document, document, document. So with that, we'll open it up to Q&A, and I'll turn it over to Christina.
A couple minutes for Q&A, so I'll hand you the mic so that our recording can hear. Everybody knows customer service. Anybody want to talk about a good customer experience that they've had that really sticks in their mind?
I'm going to start calling on you. Some of you I know.
A good customer service experience that I had started out on rough ground. I was referred to the client. The client was angry and very frustrated and definitely not compliant. It was a business owner. He had over 50 full-time employees, so he fell in the large group category. And it's a heavily regulated business by Department of Labor as well as Department of Human Services. So I could have made him happy by not getting into all of that and just fixing the minor problems that he had, which actually were service-related problems, as it turned out, more so than major stuff. Not that service isn't major, because I truly think it is. But fixed the problems that were immediately bothering this client, and then said, there are some things going on here that if you don't know, it's my obligation to tell you. If you want to fix those, I really want you to be compliant. I am going to be documented to the hilt. If you choose to do this, fine. If you don't, the penalties are federal and state, and they're not nice. If you choose not to do this, that is entirely up to you, but I will not be able to defend you if you get yourself in a mess.
Can I have a timeout real quick?
Yes.
Being honest and forthright is really important, so thank you for sharing that. Because sometimes it's proactive that we need to be honest and forthright for people to make educated decisions. So that's really wowing someone, even though it might not be something they want to hear, it's something they need to hear.
Yes, it definitely was something he needed to hear. And then I volunteered to work with his HR department and do all the mechanical work, which we seldom do. But he was so off track that this was going to really be a mess for everybody, employees as well as he. Got proper training in for the HR people, which is huge. And then if his HR people were incompetent, I brought that to his attention too, because again, it's a liability to his business.
Excellent.
He needs to know it. It's not fun conversation, but he had to know it. We got that fixed, and then I always try to do employee meetings so the employees can see where their money and where their employer's money is being spent and how they can best utilize that tool, that benefit.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share? Okay, Tara.
Throughout the years, I've done a lot of learning on the job. And I guess the three things that I've learned along the way is kill them with kindness is one of the most important things about customer service that I've learned. Always have a process in place, no matter what, know how to handle it. And then always, no matter if you can't help them or you don't offer a service that they're looking for, help them find that service.
Excellent. So. Thank you for adding that. That's so good.
So my daughter goes to college on the West Coast, and so she flies back and forth a lot. And we noticed, I don't know, last fall that her luggage was absolutely terrible. So we decided to buy her a new set of luggage. We chose this brand called Away, if anyone's ever seen Away furniture or Away luggage. And it's online only, and you Christmas Day wrapped up. We never even unpacked it when it came in the box. Christmas Day, it was the wrong color. And it was my fault. And so the day after, I sent an email to the customer service department. I got an email response back within 10 minutes. And the woman said, doesn't matter whose problem it is, it's our problem now, so we will solve it. and what, send it back. We'll immediately credit your money
Wow.
and we'll give you the new one.
Greg,
And
that's
then a day
amazing.
later, she called back and said it's been shipped.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Right, we got time for one more comment, if anybody has one. I can
Okay,
share
I'm
one
good.
really briefly because retail, and obviously
Okay.
being in
I love
retail, we get a lot. But I actually was in New York just last week, and retailers in New York, I mean, it's a thrive or die business there. And a girlfriend of mine was with me, and she wanted to go into a store, and it was the laundress. They sell laundry detergents and stuff like that. And I've never bought any of it. It's a little higher priced. I have a 5-year-old that tends to destroy clothing, so we go through a lot of laundry detergent. And this lady started just engaging me about my 5-year-old, what he likes, what he plays, and then went down the entire line of, well, we'll take out grass stains, and gave me all this stuff. And she's like, you know what, just go back and try it. Just try it, because she knows that I would talk about it. And then I did proceed to buy these dryer balls, which I enjoyed thoroughly. I posted them on Instagram if anybody followed on Instagram, because I thought they were so amazing. So it was just them taking a chance sometimes on the customer,
Yep.
knowing that they're your brand ambassadors,
Yes.
which makes you loyal.
Yes, I love that.
So
And I'm going to get a quick one in for Von Mar. I love Von Mar because when you buy there, if you take that back and don't have your receipt, they will give you onto your account what it is you said you paid for the item. That's impressive. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Bank of America because I feel like raised as a professional. So I also think that they do a great job, and Great Western Bank is also another bank that I love. I'm sorry I'm throwing out banks and Bankers Trust. You're in there too, because I had a lot of really good leaders. So there's also a lot of different companies that are out there that are doing really good things in the community, and I just wanted to give a chance to do some shout outs personally as well. So with that, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to turn it over to Christina to share her closing comments. I really hope that you're inspired, engaged, and ready to take on the world and make Iowa better, right? So we're doing this together. Thank you for all that you're doing. And with that, the floor is now Christina's.
let's thank Tiffany for being here today. Thank you, Tiffany, for your time.